Alright folks, welcome back. Sunday edition. Fourth day in a row, right? I think it's fourth. I think that's right. Yeah. So we finished up the Turks yesterday, the Turkish allies, and today we're going to be working on the infamous 8 bow in the stand. It's going to consist of these figures: 4 spearmen, 4 bowmen. These are all Alain Toulaire figures. They're no longer in production. It was a sculptor that carried his own figures, and he passed away 6 or 7 years ago, and his family decided not to continue the business. So these are actually were marketed as Komnenen figures, and but after doing some research and other people's comments on them, the Komnenens already had the almond or teardrop shaped shields, so these guys are oval. We're going to use these for the 8 bow. In the DBA book, they're considered, they call them, it's spelled Skoutatoi, but based on a Greek speaker that came in yesterday who says that the skirmishers should be called Vasili, then these should be Kontaratoi, I would think. Anyhow, the 8 bow, spearmen and the bows. We're going to do the spearmen today first. And I still haven't completely decided what shield pattern I'm going to do. Nor have I decided if... Where's that 40 by 40 stance floating around out here? If the spearmen will be in the front row or in the back row. The problem with putting them in the front row is twofold. Well, it was out here somewhere. Well, I need to go grab one. I can't find one because that's kind of critical on the spacing and such. Is it Sunday yet? It is, unfortunately. So this is what's going to go on these guys. There's going to be 8 figures, 4 in the front, 4 in the back. Reasons for and against. Okay? So traditionally, you'd put the 4 spearmen in the front and the 4 bowmen behind. Traditionally. The reasons for doing it this way. Most people are expecting it to be this way. Another reason for it is if I make a really cool shield pattern, you'll be able to see it better. Reasons against. The fact that I did not replace these spears, and I'm not going to. It's just a lot of extra work, and they go really close to the figure here. And these are the only 4 figures I have. So if something happens to one of them, I'm going to have to make it work. But if I make a really cool shield pattern, I want people to be able to see them. But because these are soft, putting them forward is going to be more likely that I'm going to bend them up. And the question, this is really a bow stand that has reinforcing versus people that come into close contact with the bow in the form of the spear, more than a spear stand that can shoot. And as somebody pointed out when I was doing my Burgundians and suggested that I switch these, it would be very difficult for these bowmen to shoot other than at extreme range from behind the line of spears. In other words, when it's time to shoot, these guys would rotate up and they would do their thing, and then they would come back. what someone explained to me is that if you did that, you would just catch them at a glimpse when they're in that mode. And that's what I did with my Burgundian ones, and I'm really happy with them. And the Burgundians didn't have the bendy front line. Now, if I push these guys all the way to the back, just ignore the penny. The penny's just there to hold it. If I push the bowman all the way to the back, and I push the spearman right in front of him, as close as I can. Let me overlap them a little bit. Then I can have this dead space in front of the stand, and the spear point really won't protrude past the front edge of the stand. So I could probably get away with that if my biggest concern was to get the spears bent. I could still probably do them in the front. I would just hate to do a really cool shield pattern and then it's hidden in the back of the stand. So the question is, the answer is, I don't know yet. I haven't determined what I'm going to do yet. Because I should be able to, see, this is about there. So we could easily do the spearman and start like this. If the stand were wider, I would just put the bowman in the back in between the spearmen. That's an idea. I don't know yet. We'll leave that for later. I'm leaning towards putting the spearman in the front on this army, honestly, and have some dead space in the front. There's only one stand, so. Because I don't want to do a plain shield pattern. All right, let's make sure there's black on everything it needs to be black on. I didn't go on a little earlier. I could have gone on probably another 20 minutes earlier, but I was looking some stuff online that's going to help me make these decisions on the colors and stuff. So there's scant ambiguous information on this stuff. So this is going to be a fair amount of personal interpretation, which I don't mind. I do want some constants. Like, I'm pretty sure that these guys were big fans of blue and red. So that's what these guys are going to be, fundamentally blue and red. What if there's something you could coat the spear with and make it stronger? Yeah. I think they'll be all right. Gotta have faith. I've thought about it. They're actually nice looking spears. The problem is they're a really thin alloy. They're kind of the opposite problem with the Old Glory figures I had. The Old Glories, I replaced them because they look like shit. They look like 2x4s. They're wider in one dimension and thinner in the other, and they look very rustic. But they're the harder alloy, so I'm not worried about that. These are the soft alloy, but are great looking spears. So we're just going to roll with it and hope for the best. All right, I'm looking for the magic juices. Here we go. I know one thing, they're going to look great when they're done. So those Turks turned out really well. I was really happy with them. If I can be happy with how that turned out, I could do anything. All the same pose. Not my first rodeo. And I've painted stuff I haven't been happy with, but thankfully it was a long time ago. I think about a lot of this stuff before I go down this road and waste my time. Mike B, welcome. Byzantine's looking great, thank you. I think so too. I don't know how they'll do in battle. Doesn't really matter. That's just an excuse to get your modeling on the table. So make sure all this has a good base color. Yeah, the cavalry is going to take a while. It's going to be 5 units of cavalry, and they're all going to have different shields. Which is the appealing part of it to me. I get to make 4 different units, 5 different units. Well, 4 different units, because the commander's not going to have a unit per se. They're going to have unique ones. That was my option. I could either start those or do this. I'm like, let's do all the infantry, because I can't build the command post until I do this infantry, because the infantry of the command post will be more busily dressed than these guys will. And the infantry that's on that stand is going to be Proto-Varangian Guard. And Proto meaning they're not carrying axes at this point. They're spearmen. And those are the Old Glory figures. And I think I'm going to leave the spears on that. That's just, I don't want to cut all those damn spears off. But they're all going to kind of have a motif. They're all going to, I think they're going to have different shields, but they're all going to have similar style they're going to go in. I saw one of the books that one of the common Varangian Guard type things is to have a red shield with like a black, either a crow or something like that on them. And I think there's 4 of them. And I've seen other ones that have same thing. The common thing being black, red on black on red. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 4 different shields that are black on red that all kind of go together. So we'll do a crow on one, an eagle on another, that kind of thing. I need to make sure that there's 4 motifs that work before I go down that road. But I think that's the route I'm going to go with on them. And that way they'll look different. I don't want them individually have their own icons and their own totally different look. We'll save that for the blade stand. That's the Varangian Guard in the Komnenen list. We've got 4 different guys for that. Those guys are also Elaine Tulair guys in that. But the ones that are on the command post, supposedly they used. This one's awfully bendy. Let's see if I can do anything about that. The ones they did on the command post, supposedly in that time period, would not have had axes. Mr. Ian, welcome. Sunday's always busier than Saturday. Or maybe for some of you, this is the very end of the weekend. That's a little better. And we're going to do something with these guys that I never do. And that's we're going to paint all 4 of them at once. Because they're all 4 going to look the same. What the hell? Yep. There's a time and place for everything. And this is theirs. All right, let's switch to the other side. And I have not decided what color the bowmen are going to be, but they're going to be less colorful. We'll figure that out after the spearmen are done. Vikings didn't all have axes. Was that a Varangian Guard thing? Yeah, I think so. Some of them were Anglo-Saxons too. Huscarls without work. But at this time period, the Huscarls were still around. They hadn't been smoked yet by the Normans. Speaking of Huscarls, the forged in battle figures for the Anglo-Saxons. People love the Anglo-Saxon army for whatever reason. You know, I guess that's you guys. A lot of you guys' ancestors. They're not mine, so I don't have that tie-in. But the forged in battle figures for the Anglo-Saxons make me salivate. They are really beautiful. They are beautiful. If I ever do an Anglo-Saxon army, well, I would do an Anglo-Saxon that would be an Anglo-Dane one as well, and use those figures for them. Beautiful figures, inspiring. Of course, the Old Glory ones aren't bad either, but I'm retired. Every day is the weekend. No kidding. I'm so jealous. I hope I get there one day. I still have at least 15 years to go. Just don't want to have to change my lifestyle. You know, I don't have a crazy lifestyle. I can even say, I'm not going to buy any more figures. I got plenty of them. The axes were used for other uses as well as fighting, gathering wood for fires, etc. Back scratchers, right? Toothpicks. Oh, those figures look really, really cool. Which, you know, the thing is I've said this before, and I think a lot of people think the way I do on this. Maybe not everybody. We gravitate towards the units that look cooler to paint. That's why World War II Germans are so popular, I think. Not because there's a bunch of neo-Nazis that want to bring back a Fourth Reich, but they had cool equipment. They were rat bastards. There's no doubt about it. You know, you don't want them as your neighbor. But they were masters of propaganda, and they dressed their troops interesting. And that's why their stuff sells, I think. And there's a little bit of the, I don't know whether this is a human psyche or whatever, but we tend to play people who didn't win and see if they could do better than they did historically. There's a little bit of that. So, whoop. Yeah, if you look at any model kits, you know, they make tons of German stuff. And sometimes very little of anything else. So, they're just interesting looking. So that's why, you know, Normans, Anglo-Saxons, I'm pro-Norman because they look cooler. You know, not that I want to be somebody's feudal vassal, you know, but I like it when they make. I like building an army that is intrinsically boring looking to most people, and then give it some interest, make it look interesting. And the first army I got a chance to do that with is the Armenians. I just had to invent stuff that wasn't too outlandish, that made all these bareheaded, bearded dudes in pajamas look something other than blah. And then the Irish, man, I freaking love the Irish. I mean, they're just a bunch of guys wearing, you know, long shirts, barefoot. I love that army. So I look forward to doing the Scots, Anglo-Saxons, you know, any of those armies that just you know, they just don't look, you know, they're not like Romans and shit like that are already, you know, look really interesting. Medieval stuff, all the medieval knights and stuff, that's, you know, all that heraldry and stuff. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Kind of had to do the same thing with the Wallachians, you know, bunch of peasants running around. Got to make them look interesting. Like if you took a time machine and went back in time and looked at a battle, you know, they wouldn't all be dressed wearing the same colors. They'd be whatever they showed up in. They'd rustic type colors that don't cost a lot of money to add color to. You know, no exotic dyes, just, you know, cat urine and dog poop or whatever it is that they use to dye their pants and shirts and stuff. Cat urine and dog poop. Or maybe the other way. I think Napoleonics are cool to paint. If you like the history, I'm not interested in them. They don't do anything for me. I've never been into that period. A lot of it happens when I first started gaming. The people that were playing that just weren't, they were older and they weren't any fun to play with. You've seen how we play games online. In our games, we have a shitload of fun. Sometimes we're having too much fun. That's the people I like to play with. You know, I've walked up to other games at a convention. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't sign up for this. These guys aren't any fun. You know, and having fun is being full of energy, laughing about shit when it happens even to your own guys. It's not favorable. You know, that's what I've always enjoyed. I've been fortunate that I have been able to surround myself with people that think the same way. Okay, so this guy's got some scale mail on his shirt. He's got leather on the back of his helmet. I think that's called aventail, and on his shoulders. So that's the armored part. That's what we're going to do on all these figures. Let's do all the armored part stuff first. So first of all, let's get the metallic color on there so we don't get that on parts that we don't want it to, because we do kind of like a wet dry brush normally on that. Timeline says DNA evidence points to Anglo-Saxons may not have allowed British males to procreate. Anglo-Saxons may not have allowed British males to procreate. So they're not so nice after all. Well, they're invaders too, you know? Keep finding shipwrecks in the UK and historical treasure troves for weapons and lifestyle periods. Some of them even have wine bottles and food containers in them. Cool. Yeah, it's amazing the stuff we've lost. It's amazing the people that have been killed in conflict, that nothing's even known about that conflict. I mean, not that I'm somebody who wants to go down in battle and be remembered for all history like Alexander the Great, but I'm just saying, how many people have died in conflicts in China in ancient times that nobody's even known about that battle? A lot. That's probably the place that's the worst for lost information, because everything seems to point to they had a huge amount of troops. And, ancient, I'm talking about even before the Ming Dynasty, huge amount of troops. And because very little was written about him, and what was written was burned by the guy and the next guy that painted him in a bad light, you're not left with much. And then on top of that, you've got the translation problem. I can't just pick up a Chinese book and read it. So if it doesn't get translated into English, assuming the thing exists, many people don't know about it. So, not that makes their sufferings any better, but, war is stupid. We're fascinated by it in war games and stuff, but it's dumb as shit. It's always been around, it probably will always be around, but I equate it to a horror movie, I don't like playing games that don't involve conflict, because I'm like a devout pacifist every day. So this is kind of like my watch horror movies type thing. Do people that watch horror movies want to see cheerleaders murdered, innocent cheerleaders murdered? No, that's just their fascination with it. I don't know, some people may. I don't watch horror movies. I don't like stuff like that happening to innocent people. It bothers me. Doesn't sit well with me. So people have people are into different things for different periods. I know this one guy that I know is kind of the polar opposite of me. Kind of the polar opposite. Talking about horror movies. I don't do horror movies. I like thrillers. I don't do monsters, supernatural, none of that shit. It just puts boogeymen in your head. You can't sleep at night, and it's bullshit. But anyway, so this guy is like the polar opposite of me. So he'll do horror movies. And I won't. He doesn't do. I do roller coasters. He won't. He's scared of guns. I mean, I don't want everybody with a gun, but you know, nothing wrong with responsible people doing it. It's just funny. So you know, he'll watch all this crazy stuff. Possessed nuns, and I don't want to have anything to do with that shit. That's just. I don't think he wants to murder innocent people. It's just that's what his thing is that he enjoys seeing. Speaking of movies, when are we going to be done with superheroes? I mean, that's all they seem to make now is superhero shit. Da, 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 da. In the 90s, I made friends with Russia. I thought war was over. Oh well. We don't know what's going on, man. We're just on the outside. If we knew what was going on, we'd probably all revolt. And that's why I'm not a fan of politicians, because none of them are out for your best interest. No matter who they are. Because somebody like me couldn't make it. I mean, there's just some things I'm just not going to compromise. You know? And I'm not necessarily talking about, one side of the aisle versus the other. I'm just talking about there's some things that, like, I just don't understand how, you can have some kind of weapon system that's state of the art and then sell it to anybody. I'm like, no, your people come first. You can't just sell it and then the next thing gets used on you, whatever. But I'm not interested in, there's just some things you can't put a price tag on, and yeah, I wouldn't last long. They recently found King James II. Okay, let me think who that is. Okay. Flagship that went down with 200 odd lost people. The cannon on board were a lot bigger caliber than they thought possible for that period. The Mary Rose, they found the archers had a longbow with a 180-pound pulling string. That's a lot. Mary Rose was Henry VIII's ship, right? There's big fan here of World War II British ships. Huge fan. But Mary Rose, that's a shitty name for a ship. I'm sorry. I mean, you know. That doesn't exactly inspire dread. It's a dreadnought. But that's Henry VIII's ship, right? I think. Or I'm thinking Golden Hind. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Golden Hind. But it's the same time period. I think that's Henry VIII. Oh. All right. Do we need to do a Nuln Oil wash on this? I think we should, just for yucks. It might darken it too much. Let's take a look. Let's just do it, just for good measure. I haven't done one in a while. Henry VIII ship. Okay. So Golden Hind was also... Golden Hind might have been his flagship. You know, if I had a superpower, it would be to suck the water out of places. Like, let's drain the Mediterranean and see what we find. There's got to be some incredible, just unbelievable stuff just in the Mediterranean. I'm just saying because that one's easy. You know, you already have a natural choke point. This might be too dark. Oh well. See, I got to make them look all even, so let's do it. We can come in and dry brush certain areas later. So the cool thing about Nuln Oil is that it dries a lot faster than a traditional wash. At least for me that I've seen, it's pretty fast drying. We'll move on to the maybe this was the right thing to do. Have confidence, Tony. Well, I'm not worried about it. I can paint my way out of anything, so, and be happy with it. And that's what you got to do. If you're the creator, you need to be the one that's happy with it, because you're the one that's going to burn out and go do something else. So if other people don't like your creation, well, that's their problem. That's their problem. All right. Let's get Mr. Leather Brown out here. Doesn't have to be exactly that color, just something that we can work with. Chocolate brown, that's its cousin. They're very similar. Leather brown. Of course, we're going to lighten that up some. Oh, Golden Hind was Elizabeth I, Drake's ship when he circumnavigated the globe. That's right. Drake, not exactly friend of my people. I would like to play. I would like to do stuff for the late second half of the 1500s would be really cool. And I just don't mean Spanish Armada. I mean, you know, like Lepanto and other skirmishing shit. You could do like Portuguese versus like pirates and shit like that. You know, stuff in India, Chinese junks and stuff. Just need a set of rules that is reasonable. I think it would be cool because you could do enough different looking ships. You start getting Napoleonics and they all look the same to me. Oh, well, you know, the French had, you know, the white painted on the side of them and the British had yellow. And yeah, it's not different enough for me. They found many wrecks between Greece and Egypt. Yep, that place is full of them. James' ship is called, I'm not even going to go there. That's the second most difficult word to spell, to say in the English language. The most difficult one is the one that's said Leicester, but it's spelled Leicester. I can't stand that word. Whoever came up with the spelling of that word should be hung, drawn, and quartered. Was it Cromwell? Because then we can just, we can see we just got paid back for that. Gloucester, right? That's how you say it, Gloucester. I hate Leicester, the whole spelling. It's freaking this long. It's like a month long spelled, and it's, like you only pronounce like 4 letters. Crazy, crazy. I'm out. All right, well, that's not going to work. I'm going to go get a Coke and some water. German effect on English. The French effect, too. Oui, oui. I'll be right back. So this is why I drink black coffee. Because I got this coffee yesterday. I picked up 2 of them. I just get it all black. I drank a little bit, and I got this special creamer that the wife bought that has no calories and nothing else. So, it's probably filled with formaldehyde and stuff that's going to keep me pickled for eternity. But it won't fatten me up or make me angry, because I get angry with sugar. I get irritable with sugar. I never had any. So I just drank down just a little bit of it and then filled it with creamer. Had I not done that, I'd still have probably at least half of this coffee, but I feel like I get punished. It's just too bitter for me now. So instead of that, I drank the whole damn thing. So I've got the energy running through my veins. But that's why I drink black coffee. It lasts longer. Pronounce Gloucester. Oh, it's not Gloucester. Gloucester. Yeah, whatever. There he is, Patriot Wargaming Solution, PWS. Good morning. All right. Okay, so what we need to do, here is the leather brown. We got some of that. We're probably going to have to go right to the smaller brush to be able to get in here. And okay, you have like a little light blue icon. Yeah, it's probably a little picture. I can see it. I wonder why some, like if you take somebody like, let's see, who's probably on here? Ian's on here. And he gets an I, and that, why is that blue? They just decided to make that color blue. John Hanna's is a J that's also blue. I wonder, that's probably just a default thing. I guess if you don't have a picture, they assign a letter to you. So I wonder if we're going to get a Greek speaker in here that'll tell me if this is the correct way to say these guys. They're spelled Kontaratoi, but based on how they told me that Soloi is said Sealy, so this should be Kontarati. I would think. If OI is E, then that would be it. Kontarati. I don't know. Spearman. There was a discussion. I actually looked this up, and it led me to a discussion on, of all places, the miniatures page. An old discussion on different Greek pronunciations. And somebody made a good point, and they said, you can pronounce it however you want in Greek, but we're not speaking Greek, we're speaking English. So the English pronunciation is such and such. You know, and they said it with hoplites. You know, it's hoplites in English, even though it might be oplites in Greek. And that's a good point, because I don't say my last name in the Spanish way, because you guys can't roll your damn R's. So, yeah, just be happy that I pronounce it the way I do. Uh-oh. Oh, why does it default to top chat? I want it on all chat. Live chat. Mana Spear. Scapa Flow is seemingly great for fishing. There are loads of fish living in the wrecks. It's a major tourist attraction to Shetland. Didn't they raise most of them? Didn't they raise most of that fleet? I think a few of them stayed. My favorite I just realized somebody asked me yesterday. I think it was Nordic. Asked me if I had a time machine, what time would I go back to? And I never got around to answering that. I don't know that I have a good answer for that. And the reason I thought about that is because I was thinking, one of my favorite alternate realities is if the Germans would have won the First World War. What would the world look like now? I'd say it wouldn't look any worse. But a lot of it would depend on when it got won. If it got won in 1914, with them actually taking Paris and some kind of surrender got signed, it would be different than, after 4 years. PI sounds like P, not pie. Okay. OI apparently sounds like E as well. I don't know. I'm going to make no effort to speak languages that don't use the same alphabet. That's my rule. Because I can't coach myself then. I'm like, what are these letters? I like how it looks. Don't get me wrong, but I'll say it again. Even the freaking Turks learn how to use the same alphabet. So if they can do it, anybody can do it. Even the freaking Turks. It's all Greek to me. No kidding, right? You know, these guys refer to themselves as Romans, but I would never, I would never consider Byzantines and Roman. I don't care what they call themselves. They're kind of their own thing. I mean, they're to me, I consider them more Greek than Roman, but I wouldn't even consider them Greek. They're much more than that. It's complex, you know. Not to poo-poo anybody, it just my perception of it. Because when I think Roman, I think of Republic. I don't even think of after Julius Caesar. It's something different. It's just something different. I mean, yes, it's still Rome, but that's not what I automatically gravitate to. Your wife's got Norwegian ancestry. I think that's a country I would really enjoy going to. I think the road net sucks, doesn't it? Like you get all the way at some town in a fjord. Oh shit! Down the whole frickin' road all the way to the mainland, and then you can go back up to the next place you want to go to, and then have to travel down another fjord again. Just go by boat, right? Well, you have the same problem by boat. Germany may have helped Mexico take back their lost territory if the war had gone on long enough. Maybe. Maybe. I just don't think of the Germans as the bad guys in World War One. Sorry. I just don't. It just is stupid. It should have never happened. It's just dumb as shit. It should have never happened. But most wars shouldn't have happened. That would have failed just as England ultimately failed. No one really knows how classical Greek was pronounced. There are probably different pronunciations in different regions. There were. I was just reading something right now on my... I'm going to go through it again. This is going to be my homework assignments. I got to finish this book that I'm reading on the... hold on. I got to say it right. Theathohi. The Diadochi. Alexander's successor. And this guy he went out of his way to come up with novel and never pronounced ways of saying people's names. Agathocles. You mean Agathocles? There's modern accepted ways of saying things. That city in northern Greece, there's only one way I've ever heard it pronounced, and that's Thessalonica. You don't pronounce it any other way. And this guy comes up with creative ways. And it's not like he's from Greece and he's pronouncing it the Greek way. He's narrating material. He has no clue what he's narrating. It would be like if I would be narrating a medical journal. I don't know jack shit about medicine. Nor do I care to. It's not my thing. So, here, read this. Oh, we like your voice. Come here, read this thing. And, yeah, that's the problem with those pronunciations is they drive you crazy. There's a book that I've listened to that's a pretty good book on the conquest of Mexico by the conquistadors. And this guy's It's painful. Knowing Spanish, it's really painful listening to his pronunciation on both the native names, because the native names aren't that difficult to say because you pronounce all the freaking. I don't have a problem with the Aztec names, but butchers everything and it just distracts you and you're just scratching your head like, what? And then you miss the next two sentences because you're just thrown off by it so much. Lysimachus. That's what this guy would call. King Lysimachus. Who? Lysimachus? There's no other way to say that. I've never heard that said any other way. Anyhow, I guess it's probably more irritating the more languages you know. But the guy who does a great job on it, in my opinion, the guy who does a great job is old Dan Jones. When he narrates his own stuff, that guy's awesome. His books are good, but the one on the Plantagenets is a great book, but it's narrated by somebody who just didn't want to be there. And he narrates every sentence the same. It has the same emphasis, and it's like is no good, unfortunately, because the material of that book is awesome. And but the stuff that I've heard, the last two books he's come out with, he's narrated himself. Maybe people have told him the same thing, and he does an excellent job of pronouncing things in other languages when needed to. So. See, I don't think of the Romans. I don't automatically gravitate towards empire. For me, the Romans are a republic. It's just different. I feel like it changes. The landscape changes a lot when you go from politically appointed generals that are, trying to one up each other, as opposed to. And those guys generally didn't assassinate each other, if I remember correctly. I mean, sure, there's exceptions, but once you get into the Roman Empire, man, assassination is just rampant. That's how you get rid of people. And same thing with the Byzantines. I mean, cutting people's noses off and blinding them and shit like that. Because those guys are stuck on for life, but, you've got consulships and people wanting to get their shit done while their term's still in office, so I like the Republic stuff a lot better. And I just don't think that there's many interesting people that they fought when they were an empire. Except later on, I think the Sassanids are really a neat foil for them. That's all the leather, huh? Just a little. I can't see it now, but these guys are going to look awesome. I can't see it now because it's so far away from Oh, I should have done her helmet. It's that same color. Oh well. I'll do that when I do the spear point. Okay, we got lots of people on there. So who's your favorite successor? Not Pyrrhus. He doesn't count. Welsh villages, yeah. Those guys are crazy. Those guys are crazy. SPQR isn't the R Republic. No, I think it's believed the Senate and the people of Rome. I believe that's what it is. So, you can have SPQR in the imperial time period, but the Senate just didn't have the power that it used to. Welsh villages are crazy. Those people are nuts, man. I don't mean the Welsh, I mean their names. I know one Welsh person, and he's awesome. He's absolutely awesome. And I do get a kick out of how you people in Britain pick on each other. I think it's hilarious. We do the same thing, but it's with states. We make fun of people from West Virginia or New York, California. I like how the people from England basically say everybody who's what, Irish, Welsh, or Scottish, they all fornicate with farm animals. I think it's hilarious. It's all in good fun. Seleucus. Okay. Why? Why do you like him the best? I'm just curious. I don't know that there's any that I like or dislike. I guess that's a good thing. That's where we're going next. No, SPQR is Senatus Populisque Romanus. Senate and the people of Rome. Yeah, Senate and the people of Rome. Yeah. I didn't know where the Q worked its way in there. Populusque. My first rude awakening was I figured, oh, okay, I speak Spanish. Well, I didn't go to school for it, but I can read it and stuff. And I can speak to my parents in it. Conversational. I don't want to write like a technical letter in it. I would have to use Translate for a lot of big words. Oh, good Lord. And I figured, oh, that's going to help me with Latin. No, it's not useful at all. It helps with Italian. It helps with Italian a lot, actually. 4:30 in the freaking morning. Your brush strokes woke me up. Nice painting though. Excellent. 4:30 in the morning. Ah, you're over there on the West Coast, huh? Sleeping's a waste of time, man. Sleeping is a waste of time. It's overrated. It's necessary, but we gotta get things done, man. We're not gonna get things done sleeping. There we go. Let's get some contrast in there. Aventail. I don't know that I got a favorite successor. We got to leave Pyrrhus out. Pyrrhus doesn't count. He's after the partition. You know, the guys that were around when Alexander was around. I'm going to be on a trip reading a lot of those books, so that a lot of these characters become second nature of who's on what side and who's related to who. I've gotten a lot better in the last 3 months with it. All it takes is some exposure to. You start getting in. You start. There's guys that aren't confusing at all, like Ptolemy, Seleucus. Those two guys aren't confusing at all. Antigonus. But then you got, like, okay, who's Perdiccas? Well, he was around so little that no wonder, or who's Craterus? Again, never happened because he died in the battle, kind of thing. And after you read about him a couple times, it'd be even better if there was like pictures of all of them. Then you put a face on a picture on a face, a name on a picture. There we go. And those guys, not Baz Battles, the guys that do the videos, Kings and Generals, they do an excellent job with some of the battles. Which they show a little icon moving around the map. I'm a big map fan, so that works well for me, but I'm probably not going to do any troops that can be morphed in anything. I want to do, pikemen that are specifically for this guy. It's the whole point in painting stuff. I'm sure some of them change sides and stuff, but what do you call a sheep tied to a pole in Aberdeen? A leisure center. Gotta love it, man. It's all good fun. It's all good fun. Or as I like to say, what's McDonald's? The best Scottish food. I've never had Scottish food, but there's just some parts of creatures I'm not eating. Thank you. I'll eat my vegetables. Just think how bad the food would have been in the English Isles if the Normans would have never invaded. And they eat weird shit in France, too. I mean, I'm not eating any of those slugs. They eat weird stuff everywhere. After this, we'll do the red undershirt these guys have on. So this probably is quicker than painting one at a time. The problem is, I don't like picking up the figure and putting him back down. I find that a little fumbly. But I'm also not used to it. Although when I painted my Romans, and I do mean my Romans, I did do them 16 figures at a time. That was painful. It was painful just getting through that. Usually when I do that, I paint one all the way through. Like, okay, you like this? Yeah. Okay, all right, let's paint the rest of them that way, because you don't want to find out you don't like them and you got to fix 15 other figures. Let's see. No eyes. Yuck. Anybody eat eyes? Come on, man. Yes, we revel in our nickname as sheep. Yeah, there you go. It's all good fun. Romans brought us rabbits to UK as a fresh supply of meat. No, no thanks. They eat mice too, so Romans, I guess, are rodent eaters. Scots do manage to eat vegetables, mostly deep fried. Huh, so you guys are from the South. I like vegetables. The problem with vegetables is they're hard to get a hold of. You know, the other stuff is just, we all eat unhealthy because it's easy to find. You know, it's probably cheap to make, mass produce. Red. Got a couple of reds here. Ooh. Ooh. Let me look at one picture. Go here. Oh man. Pinterest. Inspiration by where's that one? Yeah, I think we wanted to do the brighter red on the skirt and the darker red on the arms. Or do we want to do it the other way around? I don't want to do them all the same color. That's boring. We same color on both. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. As we were. Yeah, every place eats weird shit. People from my country eat fucking brains and shit like that. F that. Eat no brains. You're gonna make weird stuff like that? I'm just not gonna eat meat. I'm just not gonna eat animals. Deep fried Mars bar. What's a Mars bar? I mean, I know what it is, but what's in it? It's like a Snickers, right? It's Snickers-ish. Does it got caramel in it? Because Snickers is peanuts, caramel, nougat, and then the chocolate on the outside. So it's smush crunch. It's got crunch to it. Does Mars have a crunch in it? It's not a popular candy bar here in the United States. Let's pull this guy out here as well. And what's this other red? What Americans call rutabagas are called neeps in Scotland, Swedes in England. Yeah, and it's just another turnip. Yeah, those rutabagas took a life on their own, didn't they? Oh, it's scarlet. Okay. Scarlet is the most orange one. Let's not use that one. We'll save that for the shield. Doesn't make a huge difference. I've got all these reds. I might as well use them at different times. Okay, we'll do the one that's called red. Vermellón. You get to learn Spanish if you, that's one of those words I wouldn't know. Never went to school in it, so. I just never spoke English at home with my folks. It's just weird. The idea of doing that just seems extremely odd. Well, that wasn't their first primary language. It is for me. I mean, I think in English. So, Mars is a Snickers without the nuts, basically. Oh, it's just mush. Okay. So even people that have a nut allergy can have it. All right. So here we have our red. Do we have enough black? Because black likes to fizzle out after a little bit. We're going to do all the sleeves and the skirt in this color. If there's any bit of the pants showing, and there is, that'll be blue. All right. You have a little bit here. A little bit here. And it almost looks the same color as the leather. Not for long. So weird to be painting multiple figures at once. I was like ready to mix up the next color up. Just have it. I always called this painting method blending, but I'm blending here. I'm not blending on the figure. Instead of layering. Pick up, put back down. Pick up, put back down. Pick up, put back down. So weird. It's so weird. First deep fried Mars bar was fried in a chipper in Stonehaven, just 15 miles down the coast from me. Was up in your part of the world a couple of weeks ago on Holes holidays, I guess. In their very, oh boy. A spa hotel. Man, hotels are expensive in other countries. Or in other first world countries. There we go. What's a night in a spa hotel go for? I'd be like, man, for those kind of prices, I'll go sleep in my boot. And they probably don't have air conditioning. I'm a spoiled American. We gotta have air conditioning everywhere we go. I'm not sweating when I'm sleeping. I want ice in my drinks, and I want air conditioning. All right. That color's done. Now back to the beginning. Around 200 pounds. Holy shit. That's a lot. That's a lot. I know you're not talking about a dump. You know, I mean, there's hotels that go that much here, but. £200. Or is 200 too big of a number to use with quid in the same sentence? All right. I I can't take it anymore. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore. I got to take this all the way. This half-ass painting, you know, this many figures at once. Driving me bananas. Oh, this guy's spears at a different. There we go. I think this guy's faded from the sun. We're gonna. I don't generally highlight with yellow very much. It just starts going in a different direction. Yeah, I'm not adding the white everywhere, just in a few places. If things fade in the sun, they're going to fade to white, not yellow. There. Whew. Now he's done. God, it's so much more satisfying. Now, if I'm doing like shields or something like that, yeah, and they will all need to be the same shields then. It doesn't get that warm in Scotland. Maybe I should move there. I can't stand it being hot outside. I guess I live in the wrong place. My family's from Scotland. Know any Dalrymples? 4-star games room and swimming pool, aircon, the works. Does the game room have DBA? Now I got too watery. Something that never happens. Damn me. I don't care if they don't look exactly the same. There we go. I found out recently that Mitch is half Scottish, supposedly. I had no idea. That would explain why he's too cheap to buy shoes, wouldn't it? Oh, man. It was all over. I think he's a Campbell. I think that's what he said. A Campbell. Is she beautiful? I've seen pictures of Scotland. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. A different, very different landscape than I'm used to seeing, but it is beautiful. I guess I won't do pre-feudal Scots next. I'm going to get to them. And I'm going to do them justice. Those guys are going to be freaking cool. And you guys in Scotland are going to hate it because I'm going to do a really bad accent. But it's going to be funny. At least it'll be funny to us. It'll make you guys roll your head. Like stupid Americans. Yep, that's us. So what happened with Scotland? Did they split off? I don't pay attention to the news. better that way. They can't get me riled up over their stuff that they want to get me riled up over. Scotland's got a cool flag. Both of them. I like the St. Andrew's Cross, and what's not to like about a lion? So do the Welsh. You were born in Scotland, haven't been back since 1967. Too rocky. 64 Fahrenheit was tops off weather. Yep. If you got a convertible. 64, that's nice. I gotta have clear skies. I get down when those dreary days. It really affects me. Those days where it's the same time of day all day long, 8 in the morning looks the same as 3 in the afternoon. That gets me down. But then most days here are sunny. Tops off. Yeah, you can't do that here in Florida because as soon as you go outside and you come back inside, you smell like a shrimp salad that's been sitting in the sun. I don't know what it is. Even in 40-degree Fahrenheit weather, this place just stinks. I think it's the humidity and the pollen, and they just get in your shirt, you stink. The national animal of Scotland is a unicorn. Really? Light levels are great in the Highlands when it's not raining. Okay, so they got to get away from the coast to blow all that stuff out of there, huh? Yeah, there's stuff out there that just looks like another planet. You know, that's cool. That's one of the things I like the most about that movie Centurion is a lot of that's filmed in Scotland, I believe, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's, desolate in some places, or at least it looks that way, or that was the intent, but still beautiful. And I do like scotch. Does that help? But I can't drink it at room temperature because room temperature here in Florida is like warm. You can't drink that stuff and not put ice here in the United States. It's too warm here. If I lived somewhere that was cold, yeah. I like that stuff, but I don't even come close to drinking every day. Although I did have whiskey last night, now that I think about it. One, watched a movie with my mom and couldn't finish it. Somebody recommended I watch a movie, and she enjoyed it more than I do. More than I did. We got another hour of it to watch. It was a long movie. I didn't realize it. 7 viewers. Okay. Do we need to go any lighter with this red? I don't know. I don't. Maybe maybe just a wee bit. Maybe just a wee bit. That's awfully pink. We're not going to put it everywhere. We're just going to do a little bit of highlighting on these folds to make them pop. It's done. The problem with that area is I have a really hard time understanding some of you guys. It's just, well, it's exposure. I think if I heard it more often, it would be easier. But man, I just have a hard time understanding. There's one guy I follow who's a really good modeler, and he's in Scotland, and holy shit, I don't know what he's talking about sometimes. And then I put subtitles on one time, and it's hilarious what it replaces his words to. Even the subtitles can't keep up. All right. Spear. Spear color. I don't like doing dark color spears. I really don't. They look better when they're lighter colored to me. Let's start with English uniform. I know. I said that on purpose. I like that. I like that little saying. A wee bit. Wee bit. I like it. It's nice that we all have our own little mannerisms of things that we say. It's cool. 2014 voted majority for no independence for Scotland. Yeah, but they just had that was a long time ago. Didn't they just have a thing recently, or I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I'm not really following it. Oh, we have the blue to do on the pants. Ah, that can wait. Those pants can wait. Let's do the spear. And of course, the first thing I'm going to do is mix it with black. Take a beautiful color and then just ruin it. Change it completely. Add a little bit more black here so we got more to work with. Not so much of a fight to if they were to split off, that changes the United Kingdom flag, doesn't it? And it doesn't make it look better. You need the blue in there for it to look good. It's a good looking flag if you ask me. It is a good looking flag. Union Jack. All right, I'll do all four of them at once. I'll do all four of them at once. Uh-oh. Need glasses for this one. Hoffman, welcome. Kontaratoi. Oh, hold on. Kontaratoi. Gotta say that with the O-I, I hear is E. Always get melted in medieval Total War. Going to paint some new Fighting 15s while watching. I think that's what you mean. Medieval 2, Total War. I played that one quite a bit, but I never got around to playing the Byzantines. I just played my people. And then it got too easy because my light cavalry were just out of control. You break the other guy, and then your jinetes chase them down, and they just get some insane experience, killing people from the back. Scottish politics is crap. So much infighting. This politics everywhere is crap. English flag is red with white cross. It is. Northern Ireland is more likely to leave the UK than Scotland at the moment. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not Ireland and the whole island. It just seems stupid, but whatever. I'm just looking at things from the outside. I have no problem getting along with Protestants. What's the big deal? Oh, man. If Scotland were to split off, right? And the Union Jack is, you got to throw that in the trash because you don't have the blue there anymore. Then I think that England should use the flag that your soccer team uses. I'm sorry, football. Which is, I call it blue Plantagenets. I think it looks awesome. But, I'm a fan of creatures on flags. I am. My heraldry has a creature on it, and I'm a big fan of that. So, because just having a white flag with a red cross on it's pretty lame. You could do better than that, England. You have a rich history of cool stuff. You guys can do better than that. Northern Ireland looks close to going back to the bad old days. You mean the shoot 'em ups from the 70s? Nobody needs that. It's all the same people, man. That's just... I don't know. I'm not following all that stuff. Of course, it could be, a relationship kind of like how we have with, say, New York State. And yeah, we don't want to be part of the same thing. That's a different world. I don't know. But it's got to be over more than just religion, because it's the same freaking religion. Like I said, war's stupid. No point in fighting your own people. One of the armies you built a couple years ago had a. Hold on a second. One of the armies you built a couple years ago had a big say in how Ireland turned out. Well, it's got to be the medieval Irish. Are you talking about old, what's his name? Eddie the Bruce? There was one battle I threw him in, and it was like 5-1 or whatever for him to quick kill, and he lost. Like, what the hell, man? This guy's got like the worst luck ever. And I am planning on doing Who They Fight, which is the Normans in Ireland. Can't think of who they are, the hell they are right now. But I got a lot of things planned, but you know, I can only do one thing at a time. Anglo-Irish, that's right. Anglo-Irish. That's a cool army list. I mean, troop composition. They're pretty neat. Can't remember what the guy's name is right now, but see, you remember something new, but you forget something old. But the guy that was in charge there had his own blue flag with whatever is on. That's what it'll be. That's what the flag will be. Can't remember what his name is right now. I'm sure if you tell me what it is, it'll be, oh yeah, that guy. That's what I was thinking about. But I hadn't looked at it in 2 years, so. Edward the Bruce didn't help Scots-Irish. You know what floored me is I was reading a program and I didn't realize that the ancestors of the Scots came from Ireland, not the other way around. I would have just assumed that it was, you go from the big land to the smaller one, but what do I know? You don't learn that stuff in school. We don't go over stuff like that. Vikings did settle in Ireland for a while. Everybody loves the Vikings. I don't necessarily have a problem with them, but they're basically pirates. You know, I'm not a fan of people that destroy and loot and burn things down just for the sake of doing it. So I tend to side with other folks, not them. So I don't like looters. Not a fan of looters. Not a fan of destroying libraries and shit like that. But with that said, it'd be fun to do Viking Army. But everybody's got one, you know. I don't need to go there. Lots of people have already done that. A guy named MacAlpine settled Scotland from Ireland. Can't think of the guys right now. It's not important, but they're on my to-do list. I've got to go take a pee break. I'll be right back. I've got to take a wee break. Be right back, folks. People from Spain settled in Ireland. That's right, because we didn't know about the Gulf Stream, and we kept all the Irish from being freckled and red-haired. You're welcome. Oh man. It was a pain in the ass to find information on guys that went, other knights that went with Edward the Bruce to Ireland. In other words, because I wanted to put guys on his stand that had the heraldry of the correct guys, of the appropriate guys, and that took a while to find. The problem is if I use him, I don't get to use Odago, and man, I love my Odago. And the mystery of Odago was solved. It's a thistle and rose dog. I never knew where I got it from. Yeah, when I was looking at stuff for the Irish back when I was doing them, it's like I was listening to the Irish History podcast, and that guy's really hard to understand sometimes. They did not need any foreign invaders, man. They fought so much amongst themselves. It was like a whole island of the Hatfields and McCoys. Brought the bagpipes with him from Spain? I don't know about that. Must have been the Basques. Must have been those damn Basques up in the mountain playing with bagpipes, molesting sheep. That's the sheep molesters of Spain. They have them everywhere. They have them everywhere. Woo! Way too bright. A wee bit bright. There we go. Man, these guys are going to look good. I saw a shield pattern that I think I'm going to do, and I don't know if I'm going to like it. I think it's a bit much. So I'm going to do one. We'll do that shield when it's time to paint the shield. We'll do one shield in that pattern and see if I like it. It's got a lot of different steps and not a whole lot of like black lining and stuff that I can leave between the steps. So I'm not sure that I'm going to like it. But nope, we got to go back to over here. This is where we were. But we'll see. Did the Bruce run to Ireland? His brother did. Didn't work out too well for him. Spanish bagpipes have only like 2 pipes. They do? I don't know. We must have left before they invented those things. Well, if that's a Celt thing, there were Celts in Spain. I mean, there's redheaded people in Spain. Not many. One of the nicest banners is the Black Douglas in France during the 100 Years' War. Never in retreat, the French with Heart of Bruce and St. Andrew's Cross with Douglas coat of arms next to it. Okay, we'll have to check that one out. The Black Douglas. Yeah, there's lots of cool banners, and there's some that suck. I don't like any of the banners, honestly, that have that pattern that's supposed to represent ermine. You know, it's like the one from Brittany. That's white with all the little hash marks on it. I hate that. If you have that, on your own personal coat of arms, my condolences. I just don't like it. I also don't like people who have a banner that has this guy would have an eagle if he wasn't a bastard, so they put a slash through it. You'd have a really nice banner, my lord, if you weren't a bastard. No, there's lots of really cool ones. Lots of really cool ones. Oh, man. Any of them are better than frickin' Mitch's. Frickin' a 3-leaf pot plant. Oh, man. A lot of the Western European coastal peoples are linked by a similar culture. This is because the sea was the superhighway. Celtic, Gaelic culture, very similar. I still want to do those blue naked dudes. The jokes just write themselves. I think it's time for the fleshy bits. Good discussion this morning. Thank you, folks, for coming by. It's much appreciated. Much appreciated. Keeps me entertained, keeps me on track. We'll go down here in the corner. Ooh, these guys have got to have beards. Yep. Called it. What do you call a Byzantine with no beard? A daughter. It's too much trouble to have a beard. I can grow a beard. That's why I don't need to. And like those people say, hey, what are you trying to do? Grow a beard? If anybody ever says that, you're probably not doing a very good job of it. had one for a couple months, and it's like, man, I gotta shave my neck every day instead of, shave every other day or every third day. It's too much trouble. We're gonna do the core color on these guys, and then we'll do them individually, because I like doing each guy individually with the flesh. I like painting flesh. I really do. And these figures actually have really good detail on their face. It's just not very pronounced. So I can't wait to have pictures of these guys up, because these are figures that aren't available anymore. People either don't know about them, or they were on the internet for a bit of time, but they were hard to find. You had to really dig deep to find them. I happen to have this army that was sold by someone on Fanaticus. They said, hey, anybody want to buy this army? And I jumped on them, and I'm glad I did. Thracians were red-haired. Yeah, well, they're Celts. They're another kind of Celt. One of the French nobles had a banner with a white swan with an arrow in the neck on a red background as English archers shot his swan. In honor of Tony, I've just painted a red-headed, freckled Spaniard. Freckles in 28 millimeter. Yeah, there's a reason not to do 28 millimeter. A curly-haired, red-haired Spaniard. There we go. Spanish Merida. I had a friend of mine. He'd always put redheads in his army. I mean, like, half of his army was redheads, even if it's like Russians or something like that. I'm like, what makes those figures hard to find? These figures are a French manufacturer called Alain Toulaire. It's the name of the sculptor. And from what I understand, he had a little shop in the south of France. They just kind of worked out of his own home, and you had to like visit him or something like that to get him. And he passed away 6 or 7 years ago, and his family didn't want to continue with him, and that is kaput. So no more. And I happen to, I have a Korean army from his figures, which was like the third army I ever did. And the reason I got it is because one of our vendors ended up getting those figures in a trade, and he put together a DBA army for the Koguryo Korean, which actually the figures aren't accurate for that, because they're all done with the sculpted from that inaccurate Armies and Enemies of Ancient China book, and some of the figures are okay, but some of them are not. But regardless, they look really good. There's nothing wrong with the sculptings other than they're based on currently inaccurate information, but they're not available anymore. And so there was a gentleman on Fanaticus that was to put a post out that he had a Komninan DBA army, or earlier version of DBA army, if somebody wanted to buy it from it. And I just happened to see it within minutes of him posting it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take them. And that was, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And just in doing some research, some of the stuff is not accurate for the Komninan period. Like these guys, none of the infantry used round shields or oval shields during that time period. So I've found and been told. So I'm like, well, let's see if we can find a use for them. I was like, oh, well, they should work for the Constantinian period as the protectors of the bowmen. So that's what we're using these guys for. And they're beautiful figures. I've painted their figures before. I actually have feudal Spanish also to do with these guys, because they made limited things. They made the Koreans. They made Byzantines. They made some feudal armies. Normans, I think. Um, they're kind of middle of the road size, so they're makes them compatible with lots of different things, but it's always fumbles. So yeah, that's the no longer available. It's a shame because they're beautiful figures, but they are a soft alloy, very very soft, like old Essex. Icon here is a 40K figure painted in honor of 4th of July. All right, let me take a look. You have a 40K figure with the stars and bars, huh? That's another thing to search for. Worst heraldry, just like worst sports mascots, worst heraldry. There's some horrible stuff out there. Definitely, some people got definitely last pick in that department. And we got the juices flowing now. It's almost Transom Light 30. That's an annoying time of day. It's interesting store, some miniatures, feudal Spanish army sounds fun to pay. Well, I have one. I did the El Cid army, but I have the guys for the 1200s. You're surprised no manufacturers have ever done a range of figures with spearmen and a shield wall. I think they may have in 3D printing. I want to say there's some stuff in 3D printing that just has them like at a big mass. But yeah, I agree. It should be more popular, but it should be more popular. All right, now let's go to this with a little bit of this. We can just switch. This thing is not like it used to. That's what happens. I could work with it, but all right, let's find the new candidate. This is what a Zem. We got other Zems here. Let's get us a Zem brush. Man, that one's too small. What these blue ones? These are the AITs. Yeah. This one. We'll try a Windsor and Newton at Historicon if somebody has them. But I'm not going to buy that price brush and not see it sight unseen. That just sounds absurd. Because every brush is different. Yeah, see, even this one. This has got a little tuft on the end. We're going to have to do surgery right off the bat. This is the Kolinsky blend. So this is actually the best brushes that the end split. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to ever be happy perfectly with any single brush manufacturer. I'll try one of those Winsor and Newton so I can say, yeah, I tried them and they're no better. Or they're a little better. We're going to bring these all up individually. We got the white handy. Let's get a new white so we don't have to press this into it and deform the brush tremendously. There we go. And then we'll do beards and then we'll do the helmets. Faces are one of those things that as a kid I dreaded to do, and I actually like doing them now. Because it's what brings the figure to life. It just looks like a blah until you do their face. Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. Cool. Family coat is white field, a black chevron, and 3 black scallop shells. Yes, that's not bad. Got to get the camel hair. Series 7, really good brushes, but expensive. I'll buy one. But I don't want to order one and then get one with a misshapen edge. Point. We'll get one. The brushes, all my brushes actually last really well, except that they get that little curve at the end. That the brush cleaner just can't get out. You know, once they go that way, they just get used for something else. You know, just get used for something else. But there's no actual stores I can walk into and pick one up here. So I've got to like go to like a war game show or something. And you know, we haven't had those in, you know, a couple of years. Well, we had one in Orlando recently, but nobody's got those. So I'll pick one up or two and just see how they do. And we'll only use it for stuff like, you know, this. Only for stuff like this. But the real talent here is the painter, not the painter, the sculptor. Anybody can do what I'm doing. Maybe everybody thinks that way. You know, are there sculptors out there that go, man, I can sculpt figures, but I can't seem to paint them? Dude, we're doing the easy part. You're creating something out of nothing. But then, you know, got 40 years of practice. Two done. we'll do the individual. We'll do the shield by itself. We're gonna have to have some lighter colored boots just to offset this stuff. Kids running upstairs. I don't have an upstairs. And there might be something in the background, but no. Kids better not be. I only have one, and she's not here. She's away for the weekend. Don't have an upstairs. I don't miss not having an upstairs. It's disturbing. Oh man, I left this upstairs. Oh, let me go get it. No upstairs, no basement. It's all monolithic here. One slab to rule them all. That's how things are built here in Florida, unless you have an old home, in which case you have subflooring, but still no basement. Never lived in a house with a basement, ever. White. H-U-W-I-T-E. There's actually spelling for that. Last one. Brush maintenance helps. I started taking a bit more time. Thought that brushes last a lot longer. They do. It's a girl online that had some really useful tips worth checking out. I use spit on my brushes to keep them straight when not using. Yeah, it's just habit from the 80s. We all used to do that. It's the tip that's the problem. But I actually don't think I've used these before. I had them. I don't think I've pulled one of these out yet. I don't like that they're fatter here. I'm used to using a brush that's the same thickness all the way through, like this. So it's kind of weird. It's like I'm holding something strange. And these are actually German, I think. I don't know. I had to go find ones. You know, I wasn't going to buy any more Chinese brushes. So, screw those guys. And yeah, you got to pay 4 times more for them, but oh well. I don't go through them very often. What I also don't do is throw ones away. They're no good. For some reason, I just collect them. So a couple of years ago, I went through all my brushes and threw away like 50 of them. You know, but it's brushes I've had for, I don't know, 20 years or something like that. They're just ones that just don't see they just don't see the light of day. Okay. Let's do beards. We don't have to use this special brush for any of that. Let's just, for good measure, just make sure nothing sticks to. The edge of this, we're going to leave that on there, and we're going to go put this there. It's the one that's back there with the, we want to use that only for the faces, because these other ones are fine too. There's very fine details on those faces, so. Our Games Workshop brushes Chinese made. Some of their tufts are, and you know, you're paying a whole lot of money for that to be Chinese made. You had a basement in Michigan, and morning, used toilet atop of stairs, always heard something walking up them stairs. Scared me so bad. Old brushes are good for dry brushing. They are. And mixing epoxy, all kinds of stuff. Text not coming up what I type. Some of the brushes you get in starter packs of paint are good quality. Example, Vallejo. Huh. Vallejo. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that the Vallejo material is better than the Liquitex. I'm pleasantly surprised. It dries quicker, man. Those Turks, they dried in like 3 hours. It's unbelievable. And that's a good problem to have, because I mean, I was able to finish them yesterday. All right. Scutatos. Actually, that's... Previous ones are called Scutatos. These are Kontaratoi. Bless you. We're going to do the helmets before we do the beards. And since we're doing the helmets, we're also going to do the spear points. And I got to take another wee break. Damn it. That's the problem is coffee makes me go to the bathroom, but it makes me pee. All right. Be right back. All right. Been painting with a Reaper brush. I've been liking them a lot more than Games Workshop. Exactly. That's exactly what they're called. Scutatos for the shield that they used. Yeah, that's the earlier ones. Belisarian time period and even to the earlier Byzantine. I'll do them. I'll do them eventually. Lots of stuff I want to do. Lots of stuff I want to do. Lots of stuff I want to do that I don't have to buy any figures for. You know, I'll buy a couple here and enhance what I have, but I got the core figures for a lot of this stuff. The only bow unit in this army is these guys. The Komnenen can have 2 units of bow, but this one can only have 1. And it's this guy here that you have to play keep away with, because if you lose him, he counts as 2 elements lost. All right, so we're going to specifically skip the little gap here in between it. We're going to add this like this. It's got more detail than it really does. Why do we have a little furry riding along with him? A hitchhiker. This brush went to shit in a hurry. And then we'll drop some Nuln Oil on this helmet. That'll give it some extra depth, and then we'll highlight it a little bit afterwards with the same color. I don't want to go any brighter than this particular color, which happens to be... shit, I don't know what it's called. Lead Belcher. There's a gastric problem. Okay. There's so much furry shit on the end of this. What's going on here? Time for a wee trim. Insolent paintbrush. Here we go. Kings and Generals just notified Battle of Nicaea. I love their stuff. That the Battle of Nicaea, that was the First Crusade. Check it out. I like their stuff. They make things easy to understand. which is good because then you're like, I really like this subject. Let me learn more about it, and then you can go and at least you have some kind of a framework to kind of learn more about it. It'd be nice if I painted all this all the way around it, wouldn't it? Keys and generals, and there's like 3 channels that I get them all confused. Baz Battles is another one. But Kings and Generals, I think, has more than anybody else, like just content-wise. Sometimes use grays and white for non-metallic male shirts. It's an optical illusion. The eyes fooled into thinking it's metal. Yeah, I haven't gone there yet. I've seen other people do it and it looks good. I'm just, what am I going to use all these metallic colors for then? It's an optical delusion. Yeah, I've seen other people do that and it looks good. I'm just, I'm a wee bit scared. By the time I dull coat this, it ends up looking more like a gray anyways. Okay, before we null all that, let's go ahead and do the blue pants. There's only a tiny little bit showing. Kings and Generals just did the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Surprised me. I'm not going to watch that stuff. I don't think we know what's going on. I think there's just too much hearsay. That doesn't mean I'm pro-Russian by any stretch of the imagination. Russians have never been the good guys. But I don't want to be led on by... That's the color. Yeah, there's one channel, I forget what it is, he was showing like combat footage all the time. I forget that thing's going on. That's how little I pay attention to the news. Russians have never been the good guys. Not true. Let me take that back. I prefer them over the Mongols. I am not a Mongol fan. Doesn't mean I won't build a Mongol army, just I'll acknowledge that, I don't like them. Let me reconsider this. Because this might be a color I use on a shield. Let me go darker on the pants. Well, let's see what this color looks like with black. Because we know we're going to add black to it. We'll go with this. This will work. I didn't want it to look too navy. There's hardly any of it showing. Interesting history, Russia versus Turkey. Yeah, those battles that they fought over the Caucasus there, 1877 and stuff. I don't know much about it. I don't wargame it. That's how you find out about history. You get to participate in it by wargaming. That's how I look at it anyway, so you get to participate. So we'll use this one for the thinner stuff on there now. We got some tight spots we got to get into. Heading off for lunch. See you later. Okay, John. Thanks for coming by. I'm ready for lunch myself. Nope. Got to show some discipline. We're not going to eat for another couple hours. Because I could eat all day long. And we don't need to do that. We need to be in good shape when we retire because we got lots of things that we want to do. I'm no good to you dead. I saw so many people at the last show that were just in horrible health. And they were retired, but they were in horrible health. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of those folks. So... because I'd have 6 breakfasts if you let me. Looks like it's going to be a rain day. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to do null null on the helmet. I'm kind of happy with how it is. I'm pretty happy how that is. Bad for knees for me. Used to jog a lot. Well, as long as you can still walk, right? I don't think running and stuff like that's the best exercise. Just got to move around. Okay, so we have a sword that's there that needs to be addressed. And boots. I feel like it ought to be a light color so it stands out on the chainmail. Let's do that. Let's see if they have example of some leather. Let's grab where's the real mouse? Let's minimize this for a second. Well, that just has leather brown. I'm definitely not going to do that. It's too dark. It's not going to pop. Caffeine already wore off. Oh, and the banding is in leather too. These guys have like some banding. These figures have that or not. Finished painting for the evening, so just time for a wee dram before bed. How much is a dram? An ounce? I had a couple last night. A couple drams. Ah, I see. That looks like a leather section there. All right. Let's go ahead and do that. Let me guess, it dried up already, didn't it? It's probably that one. How much is a dram? And what is it a dram of that you're drinking? Always interested in that. Seen some very detailed artists, Byzantine shield. One of it's just an artist thing, and some that are just a solid color. We're not doing a solid color. Not on these guys. We're not going to go with a solid color. Actually, there's banding down here too. It just looks, honestly, it looks like the guys got lazy. Just looks like the guy got lazy to me. Oh, here we go. Single malt whiskey. There you go. I like that stuff. I like most things though, except, you know, Bud Light or crap. Scotch whiskey. No E. According to Scots, a dram is enough to keep the cold away. Well, that's vague. It's got to be more than an ounce. It's got to be 2 ounces. Or 2 shots. Something like that. I need to go check on something in a moment, and then I'll be right back. In a wee bit. Wee bit. We're going to wear that out today, aren't we? So we'll see if we have a video for you tomorrow. Well, of course, you won't see it tomorrow. It'll be the following day. Depends on how many players we got. Well, as long as I go, they'll be filming. It's just a matter of not whether I'll be one of the players. That was actually just worked out fine the last time that we had too many players and Mitch and I just sat out. It was entertaining enough for us. It's not like we had to play. Some other folks travel from outskirts. They definitely need to be able to play. You know, they travel from another city. So they get first dibs. All right, let me go check on something, and I will be right back in a moment. 2 shots is about right? Yeah. An eighth of a fluid ounce. That's nothing. That's a lot less than... It's a shot's an ounce, isn't it? I don't know. Anytime I have some kind of drink like that, I like to drink things like that in I guess it's called a double old fashioned. What is it, like an 8-ounce cup or whatever? I fill that thing full of ice all the way to the top, and then pour whatever liquid it is, probably 3/4 of the way full when it comes up, and that's how I like to drink it. I like everything cold. It's just too hot here. It's just too hot. Man, these jokers look good. It's not going to do justice to them. It's just the shading. It's the freaking sculptor's awesome, man. What all wrong people got to die? I don't think he died from being too old. I think it's probably the C word. A bloody C word. Alright, these guys need some boots. And let's go grab us a boot color. This is exactly the color I wanted. US Field Drab. A US shot is 1.5 ounces, so 12 drams. What? Oh, I can't drink a dram. That's like 2 drops or something. I don't know if I could drink a shot. A shot isn't worth drinking. 2 shots. Does that make me an alcoholic? 2 shots or 3, or maybe even 4. You just sip on it. It's not like you're going to chug it. All right. I'll just give... That's why I don't use the dram system. It doesn't work for me. It's not enough. It's just a tease. It's like a sip. A wee sip. All right. It's got to be Joe in that color. There he is in that fruity color. Beautiful job, just you and Elaine. It's all him. Come on, Tony, drink. No, that's how I fall asleep. You know how much I drink, Joe. I basically don't. I like to talk about it. I don't have anything against it. I become a better person when I do. But especially if we're going to play late in the evening, that's a bad combination. Late in the evening at the end of a work day and then alcohol. That just makes me sleepy. And I don't need to be sleepy on the way home. You know, before I get home. But it's just something I've never abused. I don't find it addictive. You know, food's addictive. A dram is like how much cough syrup you take. Oh, hell no, that's not enough. If I'm going to wash the cup, we're going to put more in it than that. Yeah, so I guess it'd be 3-4 ounces. Yeah, maybe about that much. And a double old fashioned, whatever that is. 4 ounces? Yeah, I'm not going to drink it in one shot. It's going to last 30 minutes for me, or, you know, maybe even a little longer than that. A friend of mine brought over a bottle of Lafroig for my birthday last week. Between the two of us, we finished 2/3 of the bottle. How many drams is that? That's a lot. Yeah, it's okay. Hey, thanks for the invite. It's a bit of a haul to New Zealand. You know, the thing that's funny is that you live in New Zealand, right? But your name is people from Old Zealand. How ironic, right? Because you're Dutch, so you're from Old Zealand. I'm pretty sure that New Zealand has nothing in common with Old Zealand other than there's water nearby, and that's about it. And the name. Is that island off of Australia doesn't have much in common with the Low Countries. Old Zealand. Gonna watch the Jurassic Park movie today. I'm waiting for my daughter to watch it. It'll be stupid. We'll have some dumb scene like the last one did with what's his face on a motorcycle with a pack of raptors running with him. I don't give a shit about the raptors. I want to see like big monsters just destroy shit and fight each other. I don't care about turkey-sized dinosaurs. That's no dinosaur. That's a bloody chicken. Yeah, I'm waiting on the daughter to watch that. She went away and I said, don't you dare watch that movie without me. Because if she goes and, like, if she watched it, then I'm not going to go to the theaters to watch it. It's just something that we just do together, so. Except 20% of the population are of Dutch descent. Really? That's a lot. What are they doing over there? To get lost? Wow. That's a lot. 20% is a lot. Honestly, I'd probably like it. Except for the earthquakes. I gotta bow out on the earthquakes. I don't do earthquakes. What percentage of the population there is of indigenous origin? You know, Maori. It's gotta be more than 20. Is it as much as, like, say, Hawaii? I don't know what Hawaii is. Hawaii's got to be like 50%, I would think. There's another army that stinks. I think that Maori are all blade, right? That's just boring. I think there's a company called MY Figures that makes Maori. I'm not sure if anybody else does. It'd be an army that nobody has, that's for sure. But I think they're like the Toltecs. They're all like solid blade or something like that. Well, I'm a big fan of solid blade, but I don't want a whole army of them. I want some variety. The raptors in your area the size of medium dogs. Yeah, so somebody was telling me that they got the raptors mixed up. The ones that are in the movies really should be Utah raptors. Again, somebody failed advertising coming up with that one. But, you know, they're scientists, not necessarily good at other stuff. And because the regular raptors are just the size of turkeys. So, they're much smaller. Well, not exactly very menacing if you make them that size, so. I've read both books, or have them read both to me, and I actually think the movies are better than the books. So it's, I think, the only case of having read a book and the movie, because people always say, oh, the book's better. Well, the one that I decided to do both on, that is not the case for me. I prefer the movie. The book focuses even more on the raptors. And I didn't come here for the raptors. Only good thing about the raptors is that frickin' roller coaster they have. It is spectacularly awesome. It is a great ride. That Velocicoaster is awesome. Just rode it last weekend. They're all fast blade. Wow. Don't they have pikes? No, that's the Hawaiians. 18% Maori. Man, there's more Dutch there than Maoris? Wow. Surprised. Well, and here I thought you were unique. Lots of Scots and New Zealand population, particularly Shetlanders. Ah, kind of fun with that name. Dunedin is the Gaelic for Edinburgh. Is that right? Huh. Dunedin. I was a kid. We have a town named that in Florida. And I was a kid. I'm like, oh, that's Dunedin. Dunedin. I did not know that. Okay, that part's done. Let's do the let's do these the sheets. How about this color? Let's see what color this is. Green brown. Let's see. Go with that. I think I heard somebody one time say that New Zealand was the Scotland of Australia. I don't know. I just hear things. I know not. Too close to these other colors. Failed. Let's do skeleton bone. I don't care if it's too light. It's going to pop nicely. We need something to stand out. There's too much darkness there. Skeleton bone. We're going to do these one at a time. Fortunately, some of those places are just too damn far away. With the limited amount of vacation time that we have, it's not likely I'm ever going to go to New Zealand. And it's not really a knock against New Zealand, it's just too damn far away. Which I think I would like Australia and New Zealand a lot. Interesting fact, all right? What's the interesting fact? Early settlers laid out the street plan of Dunedin from a map of Edinburgh. So if you know central Edinburgh, you can navigate around Dunedin. Interesting. You once heard a description of some very southern Chinese that sounded like Polynesians. Well, there's all kinds of different dialects in them. The southern part of China is very different from the northern part of China. 3 figures done for my camp, only 12 to go. You have 15 figures in a camp? Man, what is it, a harem? My camps usually have no figures in them. The Yue. Mm-hmm. It's about time for Shield to do its thing. The harem is part of your Persian army. Yeah, that's a whole lot of folks. 15's a lot of folks. All right, let's look at man, that's really complicated. How about this other clown back here? Yeah, I like that shield a little better. Let's do that one instead. Let's leave this one up. I don't like this one. It's too complicated. It's got like... See, can I save this? Let's do that. Let's go ahead and save this. I don't want it as a... Well... Alright, let's see. Now, can I open this up? You have Screaming Woman in my ancient British army. Screaming Redheads. Okay, this is the Komnenen one. So let's see, how do I... Can I just change this one? I can. Okay, cool. That's easy. Let me do a browse. And let me show you that picture I came up with. That here it is. All right, now we'll make it bigger. So this guy all the way on the right is the shield I was thinking. It's just too damn complicated. I don't think that I really like the light blue underneath there. Like, I'm fine with that star, and I'm fine with a yellow background, and I'm fine with a red rim, but having that almost like a spider web type light blue behind it, I'm not a big fan of that. Likewise, the guy that's kind of behind him and to his right is got almost like a clover leaf type, like a roundish type cross. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Because I do like doing a yellow that's kind of pastel-like. Now, the rim of that is in white, so that's not bad either. So this is what we're going to do. We'll do one and see how it turns out. If it looks like shit and I don't like it, well then, you know, I didn't do 4 of them that way. All right. So, first things first, we got to make up for that white on the end. So let's go ahead and do light gray on the whole shield. Wait, let me think about that. I could just do an edge around it. Nah, we'll do red on the whole thing in dark red. Now this is we did not want to use that other red because we wanted to keep it for this. I think this was scarlet that we wanted to keep. Yeah. Okay. We'll see how this turns out. If it looks like shit, well then, or if I'm not happy with it, then we'll go in a different direction. I don't think we need to go to that one just yet. Let's do one and see how we like this. And black dry again. Man. And then when I'm done with this, I can earn myself a lunch. So it ought to be pretty close to 11, which is my normal lunch time. All right, let's mix this and this. And we're gonna have to mix a fair amount of it. And we'll even paint the back side of the shield in this color. So it's gonna cover the whole. No point in painting the boss. And you see that one guy all the way on the left. The guy just got lazy and just painted him in a solid color. I'm just not going to do that. It just looks like you're lazy. It just doesn't look right. You have all this cool stuff you could be doing with your Byzantine army, and you got, you know, shield guys that don't have anything on them. It's got like a little piece of fluff. Let's get that off the shield. All right. Now, before you get carried away any further, spacing. Spacing is key. We are going to, this is the darkest color of the red. So we're going to get the white. We're going to do the rim. We're going to do the white rim. Let's see if we can keep this brush or not. This brush seems to be, you know what? This might be dirty as shit. Yeah, let's go switch this water out. Be right back. You like big camps and you cannot lie. it's going to look better than it does in that because I leave a little bit of dark coloring around it, so it's going to look like it's got some color spacing between it. Instead of just being that red and the yellow right next to each other, there's going to be a little bit of the other thing. White rim, that's unusual for me to do such a thing, but okay. Got to make it gray so you can let yourself highlight it a little bit. How much of a rim is there? A little bit? Okay. Let's just do the edge. Let's go around the edge. Something might actually fall the right distance from it without even trying. All right, now we're going to leave that as is, just a little bit of around it. All right, now let's space out the yellow. So let's grab the yellow that we're going to use, which is this one right here. Little Big Man has good Byzantine dish. Yeah, they're earlier ones though. Most could be easily hand painted. Yeah. I think that the Little Big Man stuff, it's a problem with the boss. You know, it's the circle that the boss is around isn't cut out well. And that's really my only gripe. They look wonderful, but they're a whole lot of work, and honestly, they take out one of the most fun things for me to do, which is to paint the shields. Speaking of camps, I've seen some mighty small camps in your videos lately. Well, you know, they can actually be 40 by 20. They can be half the size of this. And the only reason I have a camp that's this size is it doubles as a baggage element. But I normally make them 60 by 80. 60 by 80 is my preferred size of the camp. But yeah, I've got two camps that are this size. And it's because I didn't want to make a baggage element for them and a camp. There was no camp that I wanted to make that was anything in particular. My Dracula camp is 60 by 80. But you know, you just can't come up with enough unique stuff for, you know, Moldavians. What do Moldavian camps sound like? I don't know. It's just no reason to be inspired by that. All right, let's see how far this thing goes out, and it's almost to the edge. So, let's see. Normally, I wouldn't do this. But I am. I'm going to do it with black. God, what's all these little furry things? Is this material coming up? What's going on here? Yeah, you can have a 40 by 20 camp. That's absurd. All right, so let's get it in the center. Put a line there, put a line there, put a line there, put a line there. So we got our little markers there of where that's gonna go. And then let's expand upon it and make it bigger. So we're gonna put a circle at the end. And a circle at the end. And a circle at the end. And a circle at the end. Now we're going to connect that circle to the boss. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Back to where we were. All right, so we're going to do this and connect this. And same thing here. And the only reason I did the circle is so I could be mindful of having the edges rounded of this cross. Because it's like a cross slash petals type of thing. Okay. So now we're gonna clean this up some. Clean this up some. one thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and paint the boss, because that's having an, it's throwing off the effect. By not having that on there. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and fill in with a red. Let's fill in with the red again. See how we're building up here? Studio, welcome. The Wolfman. I think we can probably use this. Watered down, thinned down. Okay. And now we'll do the same thing with the yellow. Let's rinse this out. And now, since we have this yellow here, we will lighten this up with yellow because it's right here. Let's make sure we didn't go too light. Yeah, we did. All right. Let's tone that down a little bit. One thing that I find that works pretty well is if you water this down a little bit and then just almost do like a stippling. You can get in some of these places that you wouldn't normally be able to get into. It's a lot more forgiving. Now we'll add a little bit of the yellow. Yeah. Just so you know, I'm going to like how this is going to turn out. But you still do one, just to make sure you didn't waste your time, because I have made things that I haven't been happy with. Let's go in with the pure. Let's make sure it's not too watery or we're going to have a mess on our hands. This is literally my favorite thing to do. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to add a little bit of white. I think I am. Just a wee bit. We're going to wear that out today. We already did. Okay. Now we go back to the rim. Go back to the rim. Ah! Slippery coin. I do all my own stunts, folks. And even though that drawing shows pure white on the rim, I don't think I'm going to go there. I'm going to fall short of pure white. I think it's going to look better, just this gray-like. Well, I get to use one of my favorite sayings. Right height. No, too tall. Maybe this. favorite sayings is, I need to quit my day job. We'll clean that boss up a little bit, but yeah, that's a keeper. That's a keeper. Islands actually have an element called camp followers. Do they have to begin my camp? No, that's a different element. Time for bed. I want to see a shield first. No pressure. Where do you display all your armies in your home, Tony? Let's see. Let's go for a ride. And I cannot see what I'm showing you, so. Actually, I'm going to switch the computer, see if I can make out some of that. Okay. So I got this little case here where all my stuff is in here. And the lighting isn't better, but this is one of the places I keep them all. And we got our WW2 guys with the rustic basing. Burgundians. Oh look, some Chinese have been taken out. I pulled some of them to use other armies. Camps back here, other stuff back here. Here's the guys I'm working on right now. Probably too close. That's what it is. I just didn't remember to zoom the camera back out. Hey, I'm just a painter. Let's zoom out on that camera. There we go. All right. That's better. Okay. Amorites and Spanish and Ottoman Turks. So it's the case here where I got over here in the corner. That's one of the places that I have. The other one's all the way in the other part of the house. So anywho, they're going to be very uniform. They're all going to be the same. Every one of those shields is going to be the same. Yeah, I think it turned out really well. Because you look at that picture and it looks like shit. I mean, it's not a very, like, oh, that dude, he's not very exciting looking. But since I leave a little bit of dark color around him, I think it actually makes it look better than it is. And I don't know if they're going to be in the back row or not. I probably won't know in that until I make that decision. But anyhow, that's going to be it for now. I've got to take a break. I got to go pick up the daughter from another town. And anyhow, so I'm on the right track. But thanks for stopping by. Over 3.5 hours, so yeah. Did the tester on there so you can see what he looks like. And now you can go to bed. We still have to do his beard and stuff. They're all going to be either dark brown or, or black bearded dudes, of course. What do you think Greeks look like? And, and go from there. But all 4 of them will be the exact same. So, and I'm not sure what color the dominant of this guy's uniform was. I think their pants are going to be blue, and I don't think they're going to be red shirted, although they could be for the